Hey everyone, this is Daniel from PhoneArena with the Nokia 808 PureView, which is a chunky little thing running Symbian, but it's or Nokia Bell Feature Pack 1 as they call it now, but it's the potential for major disruption in the smartphone camera department that its PureView camera technology holds. That matters here. We have a 41 megapixel sensor, cowl-size optics with xenon flash and this LED light, video assist light, xenon and LED, and it's pretty thick, 14 millimeters, but the heft is overall kept in check considering this huge sensor, 170 grams. We have all the ports here at the top, HDMI, micro USB, audio jack. We have nothing here at the bottom, but microphone, one of the two. Noise cancelling mix that provides for Nokia rich recording audio in video mode. It's all made of this sturdy coarse plastic. We have it in white and red as well, with metal side buttons here, the volume rocker, the lock slider, and the camera shutter button, all with metal coating. Very sturdy, pretty hefty, but solid feeling device. Typical Symbian phone. We have a 4-inch 360 by 640, the usual Nokia Bell Symbian resolution here, but the screen is AMOLED display, and it's actually one of the brightest AMOLED displays we've seen, coupled with this clear black coating that Nokia applies to its displays now with very low screen reflectance. It's one of the most visible in sunlight displays we've ever encountered, which is great for framing your shots, very important for a phone that is basically a camera phone. We know what you're most interested in with the Nokia 808 PureView is the camera and its interface, so we're gonna go into great detail here. 41 megapixel camera with carved size lens, xenon flash, LED, video light and focus assist lamp, a monster we have on the back, and we have a sleep to snap mode here. Like on the Sony Xperia Next series, you press the shutter button from the lock screen, go directly into the camera and take a picture with the last mode you've chosen for the camera. In our case, that's the automatic mode. That's 5 megapixel automatic mode, 16:9 aspect ratio, and Nokia uses what it calls pixel oversampling for this mode. It basically makes 1 pixel out of 7 captured by the huge 41 megapixel sensor. One big super pixel that averages out the noise and combines the best of detail for a great photo with much more detail than your average 5 megapixel smartphone or compact camera. That's the advantage of the huge sensor here on the Nokia 808 PureView, as well as the lossless zoom. You zoom by sliding your finger up and down the screen like that, or using the volume rocker. The more you zoom in, of course, the more of the pixel oversampling effect you lose with stills. You can zoom losslessly up to 3 times. That's the maximum zoom level. There's no pixel oversampling here because the phone just crops the area of the sensor that corresponds to your zoom level, thus not losing any original detail, but you only lose the pixel oversampling in full zoom mode. Still, this is way better than the usual crappy digital zoom we have on other smartphones without the need for moving optics. Great solution by Nokia. In this automatic mode, you can only set the flash for red eye reduction, no flash, automatic, and so on. A little bit more control you have with the next shooting mode, that's scenes. That's Nokia presets for various scenarios, landscape, pictures, macro, close-up modes, portrait, sports, night portrait, spotlight for concert, and snow for high ambient reflectance like skiing on the beach and so on. If we choose macro mode, we found that the phone basically cannot focus well on anything closer than 10 inches. Nokia says 6 inches, but we found it to be a bit farther than your typical smartphone compact camera. Nokia says that's because the lens is so wide. But alternatively, you can just zoom in on the subject like that, 3 times zoom, focus, and just take a picture. As you can see, pictures are taken very quickly, sub-second. So shot times are very decent, unless you're shooting in full resolution, of course, which takes 1 or 2 seconds until the phone writes the picture to memory. And you can access this full resolution only this creative mode here, which is the real deal. You can basically set up everything manually. Let's see, we're in full resolution here, 38 megapixels, 4:3. I'll shoot with the shutter button, and as you can see, it takes 1, 2, 3 seconds depending on how well lit the scene is until the phone saves a full resolution 38 megapixel photo, which is still pretty decent. Let's have a look at the creative mode. You have 3 macros basically that you can set for yourself with a different combination of settings from the ones you can choose here below for quick access later. Very handy feature. They stay in the last mode you leave them at. You can choose full resolution, which is 38 megapixels 4:3 and 34 megapixels 16:9 ratio. As you can see, 34 megapixels. And in full resolution, of course, you don't have any pixel oversampling. You're shooting with the full amount of pixels available to you, which in low light ratchets up the noise a little bit, but you have an incredible amount of detail for plugging into Photoshop and such. The other mode is PureView. In 4:3 aspect ratio, you have 3 megapixel, 5 megapixel, 8 megapixel PureView modes. The lower the megapixel, the more the pixel oversampling. Then in aspect ratio 16:9, you have 2 megapixel, 5 and 8 megapixel modes. The other thing you can choose is the JPEG quality, normal, super fine. Color tones, normal, vivid, sepia, black and white. In creative mode, regardless if you're shooting with 2 megapixel or 8 megapixel or the full resolution, you have natural color reproduction as close to reality as possible, which might not appeal to most people, which prefer a little bit more saturation and contrast in their photos, like most smartphones and compact cameras offer. So you can turn on the vivid mode, which will get the same pictures that you'll get into automatic or scenes modes, which also have the saturation and contrast pumped up just a little bit. They're not gaudy or anything, just more pleasant to look like in the vivid mode or in automatic mode. Whereas in normal shooting mode with PureView, you get very natural color reproduction. And then we have the capture modes, normal, single shot, bracketing, 3 or 5 frames with different exposure ranges. That's for HDR photography, high dynamic range. But unfortunately, afterwards you have to stitch these pictures yourself with a program or just use an app. There's no HDR button. We have interval capture mode from 2 to 1500 images, which can be taken in intervals from 5 seconds to 30 minutes between each. Perfect for time-lapse photography. And usual self-timer, which you can set for 2 seconds, 10 and 30 seconds. And afterwards you have 3 sliders to set up the saturation manually, contrast and sharpness for more appealing pictures, and you have a few preferences that you can use. Turn on and off the viewfinder grid, camera sounds, video stabilization, which is off by default, focus assist lamp, memory, which you can use, and whether or not to turn on the sleep to snap mode here when the phone is locked. Even when you've chosen a setting here, with these 3 preset macros that you can save. You're still left with 5 variables you can set for the picture, with the shortcuts here on the left: the flash mode, the exposure, with a nice histogram to show which is the best setting. You have white balance, fluorescent, incandescent, cloudy, sunny, and so on and so forth. You see how the picture in the viewfinder changes when you set that. You can set up the ISO from auto, then 50 to 1600. There's not much noise in the photos, all the way up to 400 ISO. That's how good the sensor is. And this very handy feature, you can manually turn on and off the neutral density filter, or leave it at automatic for bright light scenarios. So when you want to create a nice motion blur effect, for example. And that about sums up the... You can't zoom at maximum resolution, of course, the phone warns you. That's the stills. Let's have a look at the video. You also have automatic mode here, which should set 1080p Full HD with Nokia rich recording audio, which is specific for this phone. It records from very low to very high tones, up to 140 decibels. So your next night out in a club or in a concert will get a very good audio with a video. No crackling noises when you have high-pitched sound from the scene. You have continuous autofocus here, which you can toggle on and off, including while filming. Or you can turn off continuous autofocus the second you tap the screen to do manual touch focus. We also have lossless zoom here, but this time up to 4 times in 1080p mode. It's 2 times lossless zoom, focus, maximum lossless zoom, which is 4 times again focus. In maximum lossless zoom you lose the pixel oversampling effect, of course, but since the optics and the sensor are so good, still get very decent video, and you don't have any need for moving optics with the associated noise, aberrations, and so on. That's the automatic video mode. You also have scenes here in video. That's snow, spotlight, sports, and candlelight. Again 1080p video with pixel oversampling, and this very manual creative mode, again with the presets you can do C1, C2, and C3 for your macros. You can set up for yourself and choose from the settings here below: Full HD, 1080p, 720p, 360p definition with 30, 25, 24, 15 frames per second. And you can set the color tones. In this creative mode, as we said, the phone does natural color reproduction, not like in automatic or in scenes modes. So if you think the natural colors are too bland for you, you can just turn on the vivid mode and you'll get a bit bumped up saturation and contrast, more appealing videos. Or alternatively, you can arrange them with the slider here to your liking. The good thing about the creative mode is that when you choose a bit lower resolution definition, let's say 720p, you still get very good video thanks to the good sensor here, but you can do 6 times lossless zoom instead of 4. So how close the subject is, still in focus, and that's the maximum 6 times zoom, which has nothing to do with the digital zoom on the other smartphones or compact cameras sometimes. Just a nice clear picture. You lose the pixel oversampling at full zoom level, but you're still left with great video, and you can zoom in on the subject. And in 360p mode, that's of course only if you need very far zoom. You have 12 times zoom in this mode. Of Of course, it's hard to focus at such close distance. Overall, very flexible camera, allowing you so much more than your average smartphone camera, and the pictures are so much better, it's not even funny. We won't spend much time here with Symbian. It's as good as it gets here on the Nokia 808 PureView. It's actually Nokia Bell feature pack 1 that we have here, with a bunch of new widgets. As you can see, you have your weather widgets, Facebook updates, and we don't have any notifications here. Weather widget, Facebook widgets, calendar. You have a bunch of Microsoft apps accessible via the widget here. You can set up Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint. Due to the collaboration between Nokia and Microsoft, you have this social networking widget here, which cannot be refreshed at intervals. You said you have to either refresh it manually or go into Nokia Social, which combines your Twitter, Facebook, and other social networks you're part of. You can update the status from here. There are toggles and a bunch of new widgets overall, which are all pretty helpful. If it wasn't for this screen resolution of 360 by 640, which makes things look quite pixelated at times, as you can guess. Otherwise, things scroll and move around fairly fluid, unless you try to load an app. It takes a while. The phone has 512 megabytes of RAM. The gallery loads pretty quickly, moves pretty quickly as well. Let's choose something. You can share this picture directly on Facebook right away from the gallery. Of course, it takes a while until it connects to the service. You have to set it up. You can edit the picture, and the picture editor is with pretty rich functionalities. You see how many details you can change here. You can crop, rotate, resize, and so on. You can add a bunch of color effects to the photo, clip art, and then save the picture. You can put frames on your photos. Overall, a pretty rich amount of picture editing can be done, which is good considering that the main point of this phone is picture taking and video taking, of course. Speaking of video, let's go into the interface again. This video player can play every format you throw at it. It's DivX, XVD, MKV, up to Full HD 1080p. How it's done with a single core processor, it's probably because the camera module has a proprietary ISP, faster processor, which helps. See how quick the gallery moves. Very optimized. Let's go into videos and show you how quickly everything moves. Okay, we have a DivX video here. As you can see, it's Full HD 1920 by 1080. Details, DivX, and the phone will play it without a hiccup. Unfortunately, the video player is with a very basic interface. You can hear how strong the loudspeaker is. It's very clean as well. One of the few upsides of having this huge hump at the back. Very clean and loud sound from the loudspeaker. The video player runs everything, reads subtitles and so on, but it has a very basic interface, about its only downside. Let's have a look quickly at the music player as well. Which can categorize songs by artists, albums and playlists. You have a cover flow like album art here. Nice fat progress bar, easy to press. And we have a couple of equalizer presets. We have Dolby Mobile Surround Sound here, which works when you plug in the supplied headphones. And as a phone, the device functions well. We have smart dialing here. You can quickly find the contact you're looking for, and also you have voice dialing. One thing Symbian's pretty good at is multitasking. You have true full multitasking here, and in the Nokia Bell Feature Pack 1 you have this big life-size previews of your running apps in the last state you left them in, and these apps are all running until memory runs out. Music stop, we started the video. Let's show you quickly the keyboard. As you can see, Symbian has a full landscape mode. Anyway you go, and if you turn the phone into landscape mode, the icons and fields will turn landscape as well. Decent keyboard, but overall nothing's changed from the last edition of Symbian. It's fairly easy to type here in portrait mode with one hand, since the phone is fairly narrow, and with a decent size 4-inch screen. If it was larger, it would be harder, of course. Thanks to a collaboration with Microsoft, we have a full Office mobile here on the Nokia 808 PureView, as well as we have Excel, PowerPoint, Word, as well as OneNote. Takes a while to load, as you can see. You have a PDF reader as well. Basically a mobile office, if you can live with this very low screen pixel density, doing Excel spreadsheets on the screen. And we have Nokia Public Transport, which in bigger cities in the world has the schedule for metro, bus or trams. So it can get you from a point to point. That's in Paris, for example. It shows you which metro to take, how long you need to walk, and so on and so forth to the destination. Pretty handy. And of course we have Nokia Drive with here free offline voice-guided navigation in more than 100 countries worldwide. You have a file browser, which allows you to access phone mass memory, the phone card. Pretty decent basic file browser. The browser on the Nokia 808 PureView is not very good. Rendering is slow with a lot of hiccups. As you can see, when I try to pinch in, the checkered boxes appear, and this screen pixel density, small text is almost unreadable, as you can see. It doesn't support Flash, only Flashlight 4.0. Basically would recommend you download Opera Mobile if you want much better browsing experience here on the Nokia 808 PureView. This is Office Store, Nokia's application store, with about 50,000 plus apps for this Nokia 808 PureView. Of course, they're often more expensive, and in this resolution they're made of 360 by 640. They don't look as good as on flagships of other operating systems. You have to sign in with a Nokia account to do this. We agree that we paid most attention in the review to the camera and its interface rather than the design and the interface as a whole, because we were mesmerized by what the 41 megapixel PureView camera module is capable of. As a phone, the handset functions as good as it gets with Symbian, especially if you have some experience with this mobile operating system. Somewhat compensate for the comparatively clunky interface and apps. The 808 PureView provides the free offline navigation of Nokia Drive in most countries worldwide, which is a great addition to have. Frankly, as far as the camera sensor goes, we are in awe of what Nokia has produced with the sensor here and the rich recording audio company. It makes us optimistic about its future flagships. Even in today's breakneck smartphone industry, it's been a long time since we saw true innovation, something that leaps and bounds ahead of the competition with no chance of being replicated in a few months by everyone else, like it was with dual and quad-core phones and HD screens. Granted, at the initial price that Nokia is asking for the 808 PureView, you can get any flagship out there, but they will be quickly forgotten as soon as something with better design and specs and a software trick or two comes around the corner. Enthusiasts will purchase the 808 PureView knowing that they can live with less apps and bit clunky interface and low screen pixel density, but if they want the best photography a mobile device can deliver, Nokia 808 PureView is where it's at, and you can do something about software. You can live with less apps and less screen pixel density, of course, but if the camera on your phone is bad, you're doomed to live with mediocre pictures for the duration of your ownership. Here's to hoping that the example Nokia sets with the PureView smartphone camera technology will up the ante for the other manufacturers to push even harder in delivering better shooters in their future handsets. And that might easily be the best thing that the existence of the Nokia 808 PureView will achieve. And here's to hoping that Nokia will popularize this amazing camera technology further by bringing it to a flagship Windows Phone 8 device. That might very well set a new smartphone era. For now, this Nokia 808 PureView is in a league of its own. This was a video review of the Nokia 808 PureView by PhoneArena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.